Hey guys, it's Francine from Cini's Boutique. Today I'm doing a tutorial on how I do my kids coloring shirts. So let's get started. So when I'm in the studio, I just go find my saved image. Today we're doing a unicorn for an order that I have. Just gonna go to merge, look here in my clip art, find my unicorn clip art, which is here. Double click that and it brings it up in my studio that I'm working on. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so it's easier to trace, and then I'm going to come here to my tracing, select trace area, go ahead and get this here. This is what I want traced, and see how it's missing some of these spots here. I'm going to go ahead and move my threshold a little bit till everything's filled in solid, because this is going to be a tracing shirt, so we need it to be pretty thick, the lines. So that looks good right there. Everything's filled in yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and trace. Then when I'm done with that, it shows you that it's traced because it's got the red outline. So I'm going to click on the original and I'm going to delete that. Now I'm left with just the trace that I did here. So I'm going to select that and go ahead and fill it in black so I can see what I'm working with here. I'm going to go over here and fill in my outline color, change it from red to black so I can see what I'm working with. So we've got this here. Now the name for the child that I'm working on is going to be Bella. So I'm going to go here, click on my text button, going to select there, go ahead and type out Bella, and I'm going to do all in caps. And then once I click off of that, I can click it here, go over here to my text box, and it will bring up all of the fonts that I have in my library. So I will just go through here and find the font that I want. And I cannot remember the name of it, but I know what it looks like. So give me 1 second while I find the font and we can change it. Right here. It's called Heartland Regular. It's the font that I use. Pulls up these little hearts in it, and it's like bubble letters, so it's cute for a little girl to color in. So I'm just gonna resize it here and then tilt about proportionate with the unicorn. Maybe just a tad smaller. And then what I need to do here to get the outline is I'm going to have it selected and I'm going to do an offset. So go ahead and offset this. See how it gives me the outline now? So I'm going to adjust that just a little bit to where it's making my outline. Go ahead and click apply. Now these are two separate pieces. If I were to move these, they would come apart. So what I need to do is click on, select both of them. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna hit make a compound path. So now when I try to move it, it's all one piece. Also, when I go to color it in, it's only going to give me the outline. So that outline right there is all that's going to cut. So instead of cutting out bubble letters, it's just going to cut out the outline now. So let's go ahead and line these up a little bit. What I'm going to do is select both of these. So I select this one, I hold down shift and select this one, and it selects both of them. I'm going to go ahead and center these, and then I'm going to group them together. That way it's all one image. Then I'm going to size it. What I'm working with today is a Gildan Youth Small, which is a size 6 to 8 t-shirt. So what I like to do is, to get my size, I take my mat lay out my shirt, whatever size shirt we're using. I lay it out. Go ahead and take this tab off. I'll lay it out here. And I like to use my mat. I will put it over to about where I want it to be on the side and where I want it down. And I just use my mat. So I want it about this size, big enough to where they can color, where it's not too small. So I want it about this size here. That looks about centered. So we'll say 8 inches across by probably about 8 inches down. So probably 8 by 8 is what I want my image, to make sure that it's big enough to where they'll be able to color and you can see it and everything. Because you don't want it too small, especially for a coloring shirt. So we will go back over here into the studio. I will click on the image. And now we will have to adjust it a little bit since it's longer up and down than it is across. So we can go here, go ahead and lock this to keep it the same ratio. And then we'll change our width to 8 inches and it's gonna change it. See, it changes the width, but it changes the height also. Now this is giving me a height of a little over 10 inches. So I'm gonna go back to my shirt. I'm gonna go back to my shirt and double check, see if I think that 10 inches, a little over 10 inches, that's pretty long. So I'm gonna say at max, I wanna do 9 inches long. So let's go over here and adjust it the other way, because that last thing I wanna do is make a shirt to where it's gonna come out on the bottom. And when she wears it, if she tucks it in or if it's wrinkled, you won't be able to read it. So let's go up here and change the height to 9 inches and adjust it that way. So that looks good there. What you want to do when you're working with HTV anytime, you want to right click on it and flip horizontally, because HTV you have to do it backwards so that it comes out the correct way whenever you iron it onto the shirt. So we have that, we have our unicorn, we have her name, it's sized correctly, and we are good to go. It's flipped. So what I'm gonna do is come put my vinyl on my coloring t-shirts. I only use black vinyl. You can use any color you like, but to me it's just, it looks cleaner when it's just a black outline. So my vinyl is too big to fit across. I'm gonna have to cut a little bit. So give me 1 second, like that. So just gonna cut off about this much just so it fits on my mat. Just cut that little scrap, whoever I purchased this vinyl from. Obviously they just missed a little bit on the vinyl, so hey, little extra is never a bad thing, right? So get my vinyl. Also important, make sure that the shiny carrier side is down on your mat and that the back with the adhesive is facing upwards, because that's the part you want to cut. That's the whole reason you mirror whenever you cut, is so that whenever you go to press it, you press it this way, so then it's the correct way. So let's move over here to the Cameo. I'm using a Cameo 3. So I'll just make sure my vinyl is all the way stuck to my mat. My mat is old, so it's a little not sticky. So let me go ahead and we're gonna line this up with this line here and this arrow here. And then we're just gonna hit load. That will go into my machine and we are ready to go to our send panel over here. So we will click send. The material that I'm using is Heat Transfer Smooth. That's already there. And my settings for Heat Transfer Smooth are a blade of 2, speed of 8, and force of 4 with 1 pass, and that's just the norm. That's what I use every time. So we can go ahead and send. Here it tells us it's ready, so we know that it's connected to our machine. So we'll go ahead and hit send. It's going to ask you, heat transfer needs to be mirrored. Do you wish to send the design mirrored or send as is? I'm going to send as is because I had already flipped it. But if you forget, it gives you this little reminder. So on that case, you would just hit send mirrored. But I will send as is. And that will start cutting. While that's cutting, we can go ahead and start our press. So let's move over to the press real quick. I have a Cricut Easy Press. So what we're going to do is just turn this on. We set our heat temperature. So I'm going to move that up. I press everything at 325. Go ahead and set that. We're going to set our timer. And I'm going to go down to 15 seconds. So what I do whenever I press is I do a pre-press. So I press right here on this little, it's like a TV table, but it's hardwood, so it's not gonna, it's flat and it's not gonna damage anything because it's wood. But I do keep a Teflon sheet on the bottom to protect the table and my shirt. And then go ahead and lay my shirt out. Once this heats up, we'll do a pre-press, and then we will find our center, make the center mark, and then after our design's weeded, we'll go ahead and put it on here. We'll press it for 15 seconds with the carrier sheet on. We will remove the carrier sheet and then press it for an additional 15 seconds using a Teflon sheet, of course, and then a shirt will be ready to go. But once this is done cutting, we will go on to the weeding process. So if you look here, it does not take the Easy Press long at all to heat up. It's already at 210, so it should be good to go here in a few seconds. And that's about it. We're just waiting for our design to finish cutting, so let's head back over to the cutter. Head back over here. Go ahead and watch this cut and make sure it's cutting correctly. No issues going on there. One thing I do want to point out, whenever I do my coloring shirts, I always add these Ultra Clean washable markers in with their order. Whenever they order a coloring shirt from me, it comes with these markers. And these are the best because, I mean, like it says, they're washable, they're super bright, the kids can color on them, throw them in the washer, and it all comes off, and then they have another opportunity to do it all over again. So these shirts are usable over and over again. That's what I love about these shirts. It's what my customers love about these shirts. So they're great for birthdays, just Christmas, just any kind of anything. Like I'm thinking about you kind of shirt. They're good for anything, but those are the markers. Okay, so this is done. We can see here whenever it says unload, we'll unload that. It sends our mat out. And go ahead and take this off. And then we're ready to weed our design. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way here. Grab my weeding tools. This is my favorite weeding tools. This is, I got it from Betsy at Cutting Corners Vinyl, and it's the Easy Weeding Wooden Pick. Favorite thing to use. It's awesome. So we have that. Grab my scissors. Let's go ahead and cut this out here, just so we don't waste all this extra vinyl. I'm all about saving my extra vinyl, so go ahead and cut this out here. Vinyl up, and then we can start weeding. So what I like to do on these is I will start, just pick a corner and get our outline going. So just pick that up here, go around the outline, get all of this good stuff out of here. And if it comes off, if it kind of doesn't come off in one piece, it's fine. You can always get that later. Let's see. Get this here. Finish this up here. And then put that to the side, and then we can go in and do our little inside pieces that need to come out. Now, because it's totally an outline, you're going to have bigger pieces and smaller pieces to get out, but just follow your cut lines and just make sure you're seeing what you're weeding here. And because I have done that before, I have picked out the wrong areas and had to start over, which is no fun, but with time it gets easier. So we've got this corner piece here. Now, when you're weeding, if it gets hard to see, one thing that a lot of people like to do is use a light box. That does help. I usually only, I think I have the hardest time when I'm doing glitter. Glitter is the hardest to see the cut lines. But that's one thing you can do if you need help. But weeding to me is, I love it. I think it's fun. I don't know why. Maybe I'm weird, but I think it's fun. So let's go. And another tip, when I am doing these, I try to put when you're pulling this off of this plastic like this, it's easy for it to get staticky and it wants to stick to you. So I make sure and put my pile way over there, because the last thing you want is a stray piece to come get stuck on your carrier sheet and then you don't notice it. And when you press, then you have something like that. When you press, then you have pieces stuck to your shirt, and you either gotta start over, you gotta use BLR and take it off. It can be a big mess. So it's one thing to be careful with. Make sure you're either putting them in a trash, or see, that's like really stuck when I try to get it off. So be careful when you're weeding that nothing sticks to you and then sticks to your carrier sheet here where it's not supposed to be. And then we're almost done. And this design here, I got off of Google. I just traced it. It's a simple, I Googled unicorn coloring page, and I found this cute little unicorn here, and it's actually pretty popular for the coloring shirts for girls. Unicorns are big. I also have a mermaid one that is also pretty big. But Like for the boys, I have monster trucks and dinosaurs, and it's really endless with these coloring shirts. Just look on Google, like I said, Google coloring pages, and it gives you the ones with the outlines already. So much easier to work with. But there are a lot of tiny pieces, so just be patient and it'll all come up. We just got this little tail piece, then we'll be ready to press. Okay, so then once you're done, I like to put it up against the wall here so I can see through it and make sure everything is taken out, everything looks good, it's all outlined, so we're good to press. Our press is here, it's heated up, so we are ready to go. So what I'm gonna do, set that there. Okay, so I'm gonna come and move my Teflon sheet. Now, I've got this Teflon sheet underneath, like I said, for protection. I'm gonna lay out my shirt, smooth it out, and I'm gonna go ahead and press with our easy press. We're gonna do our pre-press. What that does is removes any moisture that might be in the shirt. I do live in College Station, Texas, down south, close to Houston. It does get very humid here, so what this does is it helps remove any moisture that might be in the shirt, especially with the humidity that we have here. So that's good to go. Now, how I find my center is the easiest way to find center. I fold my shirt in half, make sure it's completely in half and even, and then I lay it down, make sure this is all lined up to where it's even. And then smooth it out and go over it with my easy press right here on the edge right here. A little bit of pressure so it'll get a nice little crease going there. And then whenever you flip it over, you've got your center crease. See that? Right there, dead center. See, I don't like to go by the tags because a lot of times they're not placed in the very center. See how that's off center from our center crease. So with that done, I'm gonna go ahead and take my design. The best way to find center on the design now is I take the non-sticky side, the shiny side, I fold it over and I line it up to where it's even. See how that's even there? I line it up, make it even, make a crease at the top, make a crease at the bottom. So I've got my center mark on my design. So then I take my design, line it up with my center mark on my design, line it up with my center mark on my shirt. And then we are ready to place this. Line center marks up with the center marks. There you go. Make sure it's about 3 inches down from the top. Just a little hair down. Three fingers down from the top. That's about where I go every time. Spread this out so it's stuck to my shirt, and when you look at it, perfectly centered on the shirt. See that? All right. So now, whenever I press, it's important to get an even press. That's why I press on this flat table. So what you want to do is make sure that your collar here, it makes it uneven in this area right here. So what you want to do is pull it forward until you're, even if you have a press, whether it's on table or a heat press, pull your collar off to make sure that everything is even, that is getting pressed. If you do have a heat press and your shirts are small like this, it's good to use a pressing pillow underneath to allow for the seam difference. That way it's still pressing even. So we're going to cover this with this Teflon sheet. And the Easy Press is 9x9. My design was 9 inches wide, so we should be good to go to cover this whole thing at once. So I'm going to take my Easy Press, lay it down, make sure it's covering everything. I'm going to hit my green button, which starts my timer, and I'm just going to give a little bit of pressure to it here. Now I don't have to stand on it, I don't have to put my entire body weight on it, but it does take a little bit of pressure. Okay, now that that's done, we can take this off. I will remove my carrier sheet here. And it's not stuck fully, it's not completely adhered, but it's stuck enough to stay on the shirt. So we can move that out of the way. Put my Teflon sheet back on. And then press again for the remaining 15 seconds. And this is how I do it every time. I do 15 seconds, remove the carrier sheet, and then press for another 15 seconds. Unless I'm doing a pretty big layering project where there's more than one color, I will press for about 2 to 3 seconds for each color, take it off, add the next layer, so on, for 2 to 3 seconds on each one, and then a final press of about 15 seconds after everything's on. So, there we have it. That is completely adhered. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but if you look closely here, I don't know if you can see it. You can see the texture of the shirt. You can see the texture of the shirt in the vinyl there, right there. You can see that, see? And that's how you know that it's adhered, when you can see the texture of the shirt coming through the vinyl. So that is completely adhered. That is our coloring shirt. So whenever I get ready to mail this, I will include the shirt with their markers, put it in a padded envelope, throw in my business card, and ship it off to wherever it's going. So I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as I can. And I do have a Facebook page. Go ahead and feel free to like that. It's Seeney's Boutique on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram, Seeney's Boutique. And if you like what you saw, just hit the subscribe button, and every time I post a new video, it will alert you that a new video is up, and I plan on posting more videos more regularly. So thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a